No, I'm not asleep. A bevy, I say, of problems. People giggle when I say that. Hey, everybody, it is Thursday, November 16th. Oh, my God. November's almost done? And this is 20 Minutes of Coffee. A show live. 4-channel members. And we... Let's see, I gotta check something out here. Uh-oh, that didn't work. Don't you worry. I am very much here. It's kind of a... I'll tell you, kind of morning. It was a good morning. It's a good morning. I just sat down and there's some new wrinkles. There's a new version of OBS you had to download. So, forgot about that. I'll download that. That's fine. Playing around with that. Then I was watching some of the news I want to talk about either today or tomorrow on the all-new episode of Anytime with Ken and Alden. That's going to be something you don't want to miss. 11 a.m. right here at this channel. And then I was about to press the record button or the live button. I realized I didn't have coffee. And, I don't think you have to have... I don't think 20 minutes of coffee has to have coffee in it. But I think we definitely want to have some coffee there. Another thing that happened is I forgot to plug in my laptop that I look at the comments on. And so now I don't think I can even get into my own channel because I'm not a channel member of my own channel to watch the live show to get into the content here. So it's going to be an interesting show as I try to talk about news of the world. And I got to flip back and forth between chat and there. David McKay asks, am I doing okay? Yeah, I think I'm doing okay. I'm not doing okay, but I'm here. And that's what the important thing is. I'm here, man. I'm here. There's this new thing on OBS where you can actually see the panel. It's nice. But I can't see. I was hoping I could see the chat, but I can't. OBS is a weird, wonderful program. This is where we're at. So, how are you all doing today? We'll do a less reliance maybe on the news, but there's some breaking news. There's a lot of things to talk about. I think I there's so many directions to go that I don't know where to go. To be honest with you, George Santos says he won't seek re-election. After damning ethics report. This is one of those kind of finally things. But what I do love about it is if you read it, he's kind of, I'll even use the term poo-pooing. He's poo-pooing the investigations into him and the damning ethics report. He's saying, I don't even care about that. The reason he's not rerunning, he's not going for re-election in a year, because these representatives got, 2-year terms, is he doesn't want to put his family through this again. It isn't that he's a complete fraud. It isn't that he's got, over 20, he got 23 federal charges against him. Allegations of fraud, misusing campaign funds, lying about his personal finances, all there. He's got a bunch of them. It's none of that. He didn't fully cooperate with the investigation. I know I'm not going to put my family through this. God bless you, George Santos. Get the hell out of here. There's going to be a resolution to pull him, expel him. I think they should pull him. Not violently, because more on that later, but just like the hook comes out and pulls him off there. That's what I think. But that's just one of many stories that we could be discussing and probably will discuss in more detail on Anytime with Ken and Alden and all those wonderful things. we have I'm trying to get through what's going on. You wake up and you get the trends. You see the trends of the world that day, and I'm not talking about actually clicking on the trends tab. I'm just saying you wake up and you see what's going on. You do the scroll. And there's this thing going on with a lot of people celebrating and praising Osama bin Laden's letter to the United States, justifying the attacks. And some people having their world turned upside down as now they see it all on a new light, and they want the term terrorist to be redefined, and that bin Laden shouldn't be considered one, all those kind of things. And then you see what's going on in Israel and Gaza, horrendous and tragic and horrible, any angle you take on it. But the inability to carry more than one truth in your thought is on display in full for me in the situations. I have absolutely, shall we say, concerns and issues, or polite words, for Israel's response, but I understand the response. We had that response in America, and in the months after 9/11, and then after a while, it flipped, and we became monsters. Not monsters like those that attacked us, but we became some sort of monster for a long time. And it's not just a matter of fighting back, it's how you fight. It's a big lesson, I believe in. So that's what's going on. But at the same time, I'll sort of, like a lot of folks say, Hamas is a terrorist organization. The attack pulled on October 7th is gut-wrenchingly horrible. And I've forced myself to read some of the stories. I haven't watched all the videos. I don't think I have access to all the videos. I don't want to. But I've forced myself to read the stories and read the accounts and read the tales. It's two truths, right? Two truths. And so to see that now playing out by a generation that experienced 9/11 different than other generations like myself or millennials, especially the elder millennials, but where it's a history book that's not alive. It's a page on a history book or a page on a history app that's not really alive. It's alive for a lot of us. That's troubling. So that's some of the serious stuff going on there. I'll probably be, I said the words, I said bin Laden, 9/11, Hamas, Israel, Gaza. YouTube's going to demonetize this video. Concerns for ads. So there's all that. And sometimes when the news gets like that, I think you just want to go into the silly news, into the news that, I don't know, rifles, yep. And that's the story of the Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, who challenged the Teamster lead, what's his name, O'Brien, to a fight. This O'Brien cat, what's his first name? It's definitely not Mark Wayne. Look, I'm not making fun of anyone's name. Sean O'Brien. I have the last name of Napzok. I grew up with that name. I think you kind of know what ticket you're buying when the name is Mark Wayne from Oklahoma. And he proved everything he is. Challenging to fight the union boss. Now, the history here, there was a previous hearing. It didn't just come out of nowhere. There's a previous hearing. And this Sean O'Brien guy is a salty, salty little bleep. I loved the clips coming out. There's so many clips, great clips of this guy right in the middle, Sean O'Brien. There's poor Bernie Sanders. Forward combed hair. You're a U.S. senator. What do you do? What's going? There's no fighting in the war room. Like it was, it was hilarious, if not tragic, to try to watch this guy. Watch Mullen just stand up. Anyways, you all saw the clip if you didn't see the clip. But O'Brien, all through it, he was chipping it. But there was a previous hearing, and Mullen, Mark Wayne Mullen, Senator Mullen, who has like a big plumbing business, and he had criticized unions for trying to infiltrate his plumbing business. which says a lot about Mark Wayne Mullen, of what he thinks about labor rights. Again, I'll be the first to say it, and I know some people live in chat, I think Laserbolt, you agree with me. Not all unions are perfect. Not all unions remain perfect, and not all unions aren't about their own power. That again, two truths. We can handle two truths. Two truths every corner. But when someone like a Mullen accuses the union of criticizes the union for trying to infiltrate his plumbing business, I think you can get a stance on labor. He's a self-made man, that Mullen. O'Brien then tweeted stuff out. That was what was part of the fun. O'Brien then tweeted stuff out and made fun of Mullen's height. I'm not a tall man. I'm like 5'9", 5'10" on a good day. I used to consider myself shorter, but then I got remeasured and I'm taller. But then I'll probably end up. My grandfather was like, by the time he passed away, was like 5'1", shrunk on down, but he was always tiny. My dad is about an inch or two shorter than me, so I was never destined to be tall. A chiropractor once told me when I was like in 6th grade, they told my mom and I at an appointment, oh, he's got a lot of room to grow. He'll be a 6-footer. I thought, there we go. All the ladies will love me now. That didn't happen. But if you want to get at someone, apparently it's height. We attack Ron DeSantis over his height, and then Ron DeSantis internalizes that shame, and then internalizes his feet into some boots with some sort of lifts in them that he can't walk in. I almost feel for him if he wasn't a complete fascist idiot, because it's in his brain, right? It's in his brain. I'm not tall. They want me to be tall. The chiropractor told me I'd be tall. Let me wear boots. That's not good enough. Let's put some lifts in the boots so I could stroll around like I'm a balloon at a Macy's parade. Just and now you get this guy. Now Mullen is a former MMA fighter. Brian Tiller's here says his mom was 5'1". That's okay. That's weird. I've met Brian Tiller. I've hung out. I've had chicken wings with Brian Tiller. Dude's like 7'2". All right, 6'5". Laserbolt says he's got big paws. Mullen, of course, was a MMA fighter. He was a professional MMA fighter, not like a weekend warrior. I don't know to which degree. I don't know what pay-per-views he was on. I don't know how far that he got, or if he was in UFC or Pride or Strike Butt or whatever it is. I don't know. And I have no problem with that. I have no problem with the mixed martial arts. I have no combat sports. All good. It's a discipline. It's fun to watch. I don't have a problem with violence on that level. But my favorite thing about this, Mullen challenges O'Brien to the fight in this hearing. You all saw the clip. But now he's going around trying to tell people that they should bring violence back. He was interviewed on CNN with what's his name, Dana Bash, and he just keeps saying that they should bring back. There should be a return to physical violence. It would help cure what he calls the keyboard warriors. Now there's some culture of keyboard warrior stuff that's true. I don't think he's wrong there. But I love that it all boils down to he should just punch their mouth, which is what he took off his wedding ring. By the way, this fuck Mullen is a year younger than me. I don't know. What have I done with my life? He wanted to bring back like duels, the Andrew Jackson thing. And I love that at one point Bash says Andrew Jackson was not a good guy. History definitely does not shine a positive light on Andrew Jackson. And Mullen says it doesn't matter. And then he said Abraham Lincoln challenged a guy to a sword fight, which is true when he was a younger lawyer. Lincoln got into a duel. Duels were just commonplace, right? And Lincoln chose a sword. He didn't want to get shot. And then the duel was called off, and Lincoln was ashamed of the events. So Mullen's doing that. Well, Lincoln got into a duel. Lincoln said that was wrong. Lincoln was ashamed that he got that far. And it goes on. The CNN has a history of some of the violence, duels, an actual caning of Charles Sumner, who was a anti-slavery senator who insulted pro-slavery proponents. And so Representative Preston Brooks, for slavery, team slavery, entered the Senate and beat Sumner nearly to death with a metal-topped cane. Yeah, see, I think we've moved past that stuff, which is part of my problem with what Mullen's gone here. I'm checking over the chat, as you all can see. I got to bring the chat up today. You get to see my meager back end here on the YouTube thing. Will McLean says, Andrew Jackson, a beacon of morality. David McKay, does Mark Wayne Mullins have an album? He needs an album. Mark, I bet it'd be really odd white guy hip hop. It'd be bad. But here it comes down to it. Josh Hawley, they quote Josh Hawley from a conference in 2021. Josh Hawley, perhaps one of the worst characters on the national scene. The left wanted to define traditional masculinity as toxic. They want to define the traditional masculine virtues, things like courage, independence, and assertiveness, as a danger to society. Courage, independence, and service are not a danger to society. That's not what's on trial here. It's trial. It's dumb fucks like Mullen, who can only see things in terms of violence, who can only see things in terms of strength is the only way to go. O'Brien later said we should sit down, have some tea, and talk about it, which was wonderful, confident. Mullen says if you push back at a bully, typically they'll shut their mouth up. The problem is Mullen doesn't see that he's the bully. He doesn't see that he's the problem. Josh Hawley doesn't see that he's the problem, because why not? There's money to be made and not being the problem. There's no attack on masculinity. There's attack on the destructive side effect of this toxic masculinity that runs rampant through our society, that has for the longest time, that might is right, that might is the only way to go, that strength and power go hand in hand, that the only true strength is what you can get when you conquer. There are times where violence is necessary. There are times where violence cannot be avoided. There are times where you have to fight. Absolutely. But it ain't anything Mark Wayne Mullins talking about. Because even in his statement, if you push back at a bully, typically they'll shut their mouth up. He had the fear of God in his eyes. O'Brien offered a different version in his interview with Jake Tapper. What went through my mind was, you're one of 100 most powerful people in the country, and you're acting like a 12-year-old in a schoolyard. I agree with that. Again, O'Brien, he was chipping. O'Brien was tweeting. And we definitely see it time and time. There is an anonymous nature to the internet. Keyboard warriors, all this kind of, that stuff's true. Mullen's not wrong about that. That stuff's true. I don't think O'Brien's the case. I think O'Brien is more of a strong individual for standing up to an anti-labor, anti-trans person like Mark Wayne Mullen. He is that as well. So run some ads about that. Look them up, talking about athletes, trans athletes. Yeah. He's a problem. He's someone who clearly wants to stay stuck in the old ways 200 years plus ago. He clearly doesn't want to move forward. He clearly can't communicate without any kind of rage driving his words. Mark Wayne Mullen is an absolute wimp. He's an absolute failure of a senator. I feel sorry for Bernie Sanders. I would have liked to have seen the fight progress just a little bit more and actually see Bernie Sanders have to jump up in the middle. Final story of the day. We talked the other day, and I don't know if Matty Gunner, he might make it into the Late Show on the replay. He sent me the story. We talked the other day of the problem on the plane. The windows were missing. This story, weird but true. New York Post. Horse forces plane to make an emergency landing after breaking free in cargo hold. Now, it makes a lot of sense. This was a plane that had was transporting animals, or at least this horse. It has a stable in it, and the horse got out of the stable shortly after takeoff from JFK. It was going to Liège, Belgium. The Boeing 747 had ascended to 31,000 feet over Boston. Well, all of a sudden, a horse broke free from its container. There's audio footage capturing the pilot's reaction to Mr. Ed's high-altitude escape. We are a cargo plane with a live animal, a horse, on board. The flyboys could be heard exclaiming over the intercom of the control tower. That's the New York Post words. The horse has broken out of its stall. They landed. They returned. There's the flight pattern right there. And everything's okay. Then they took off. They resecured the horse. A veterinarian helped them, and they got to where they wanted to go. The horse is now roaming a farm in Belgium, I'm going to assume at this point there. But what I love there's two things about this article. One thing about the article and one thing about my mind. First, New York Post couldn't resist referencing the flight in September, a Delta flight from Atlanta to Barcelona, which was forced to turn around because a passenger had diarrhea all through the plane. An incident we all know about now. David McKay says, sounds like I had an unstable. All right, David McKay's on a timeout. I love this. I love this. We all aware of this story. We are all aware of this story from September, in which a passenger had diarrhea, quote, all the way through the plane. And we've all discussed it. You've discussed it. I've discussed it. We've all discussed it of how does that happen? How does that happen? I really want to know. At what point is it so uncontrollable? Anyway, we all go there. But the other funny thing about this, I saw this headline before even Maddie Gunner sent it to me. I saw this headline, and I just assumed the plane was like a normal passenger plane, and I was immediately envisioning a horse running up and down the aisle. I don't know why I thought that. I think I need more coffee. We'll see if there's a weird flight next week. You all stick with me. All right, that's it for today. I actually do have to wake up, sip this coffee, figure out my chat, recharge my computer, and get on with my day. Thanks for being a channel member watching live. Thanks for hanging me on the on-demand after. Don't forget, we got a new live Anytime with Ken and Alden, 11 a.m. Pacific tomorrow. Friday, got a lot of news stories, silly, serious, all of it. We'll get to it. But for now, thanks for hanging out. We'll see you. Bye.